Sometimes when it gets a little slow at work, the boys and I have the opportunity to discuss life's really important questions. The other night the question was posed, how much money would it take for you to take the hardest possible punch from someone like Mike Tyson, bare gloved? Well, this is important information. I posted it on Twitter to see what you guys thought, and you were kind of split down the middle. My thought, and this is what I told the guys, is it would take at least $25,000 for me, because these guys could knock each other out with gloves on. I'm not used to taking those kinds of hits to the face, and with their gloves off, they could break something easily and potentially kill me. That's a pretty big risk. So even at $25,000, I'd probably have to practice first. Of course, the chivalrous men as they were immediately jumped at the opportunity to help me out by offering to punch me in the face. So how about you? What's the least amount of money you would take to get punched square in the face by a gloveless pro boxer? Hey everybody, Spartan here, and I'm thinking I need to depixelate this logo on my shield because it's looking pretty rough. But until then, welcome to Hybridcraft, the Minecraft series where we like to do all the things. Last episode, the thing we did was finish our animation over here on this sawmill. We got the water wheel turning to power that thing so we can provide timber and lumber and all that good stuff to the rest of our world. This episode, we're going to connect it up with a logging road and a logging bridge to the source of all that lumber, and then we're going to get into something I hinted before with another small animation that's a little bit different than what we've done before with some fishing, and I'm looking forward to it, guys. I think you're going to like it too. If so, please leave a like on the episode. It does let me know that you liked it. I do appreciate it. If you really liked it and you're not yet subscribed, make sure you hit that sub button and the bell as well so you don't miss a thing. With the intros out of the way, let's jump right into this episode. Well guys, today is the day we are going to animate our buddy Coop Dizzle over there. We're going to make him a fisherman, and we're going to make him look like he's actually fishing, which I think is going to be pretty cool. So that's the big project that we're going to tease at the beginning and come back to later, because I don't think it's going to take too much time, at least not too much video time. It'll probably take me forever behind the scenes, but in the meantime, let's go ahead and do a couple other projects, and let's discuss a few things that might help you guys out, even some of the things that I've been thinking about. So a lot of you guys know, if you've been around very long at all, that this world started out as a creative world, and I decided that I wanted this to be more than just creative. I want the builds have more meaning when it's in survival, right? So I know a lot of people respect that more, and I'm certainly one of those people. I enjoy the creative aspect of it, but it's just something to it. It's more fun when you can do it in survival. So we're always going to hop back into creative to make this stuff animated, of course, but for now, we're going to make it survival. Now, why did I say this is going to be maybe a way to help you guys out? Well, I have been hearing people say here and there online about how sometimes they just lose inspiration for the game. And I think I've already got everything I need here. So we're going to start building. By the way, we'll come back to that. Let me tell you what I'm going to do real quick while we're talking. I'm going to give this a shot. I'm not so good at the building and talking, but we're going to do our best. We've got to have a way to get to this, right? We got to, and this is, by the way, this is what I'm going to talk about. I want a reason for everything in this world, and that's how you don't run out of inspiration. There, I said it. I summed it up really fast, didn't I? So basically, we want an inspiration for everything. So every block in the game is going to have a source or a reason for existing at some point. So in this case, we've got a sawmill, right? Because, well, we've got lumber in the world. We make things out of lumber, right? So in the real world, what would equate to that? Well, you've got to make it somehow, and that would be through a sawmill, and this is the one we have in our world. So on this side, if you notice, I've got all of my logs over here. I've got them separated out. Now, they're not marked very differently, right? They're not marked very well, but that's okay, because this is going to be the place I come to any time I need lumber. And man, I am thankful. And here's the planks, by the way, on this side. And then I've got these little bitty chests over here. Oh, this one rolled up here. But I've got these little ones over here for things like birch and stuff that I don't care for. Why can't I access you? There you go. Any hoozle. The idea behind this is where I store all my lumber right here in my world. Now, that would not have been a wise idea in the past. We would have needed some kind of sorting storage system, right? Because it's going to be crazy to come over here and get your wood when, you know, you're exploring way over there or whatever, right? You don't want all your storage separated like this. Well, it's actually okay now because in 1.11 they introduced shulker boxes, which are awesome. So I can come fill up on all the lumber I need for whatever project I need and then go over and do my project, and I've got it all with me. But this is where the main bulk storage is going to be. And that's what I want to do in every part of my world. I want to build something that makes sense, like in this case, all of my wood being at a sawmill. That makes total sense, right? So that's the idea that we're going to do in this world, and that's going to keep us occupied and inspired for essentially forever, because every time Minecraft, or Mojang rather, releases a new block into the game, we're going to have an inspiration for a new build. We're going to have to come up with a lore, like where is this block coming from? If it's not, you know, like if it's a purpur or something like that, that's not a block in the real world. So we'll have to come up with a reason for it existing in this world, right? So that is the idea, and that's what we're going to try to do in this world to make it kind of last forever, I guess you could say. So let me, we'll keep talking about that in a minute, but let me work this out. If you can't tell, we're going to make a bridge, and I have decided that it's going to have to be an angle bridge. It's not something I want to do. I think angle bridges are cool, and I want to build one eventually. I didn't really want to build one here, but I think it's the only way it's going to work out with the shape of our river. But basically, so again, this is how I get inspired to do things in this game, and why I think this game for me is going to last forever as far as inspiration goes. Because I built this sawmill, it makes sense, right? But where is the lumber coming from? Where are all these trees? Well, you can see I've already chopped up a bunch of the trees. We've left a bunch of stumps behind, which I think looks cool, kind of creating our own little biome here. And I'm probably going to do the same thing to a lot more trees, and I might fill this this plains area up with a bunch of stumps just to make it look like it's a forest that has been cut down. And if you look, actually, let me zoom in. If you look what I've done here, you can see the fence posts out there. Now that I've changed the fence post texture to be a little smoother like that, it works really well as like a small stump, like they cut down a sapling or something. And I might actually plant a few saplings out here so that we can say that these people are smart. They're not just leveling a forest. They know that they need to plant more trees behind it to grow up for later, right? So the point is, there's a story behind it. There's a lore behind it, right? So in order to get this stuff over here, they're going to have to cross the river somehow. And they could use a raft system or something like that maybe. And we might do that somewhere else. But I kind of am inspired right now to make a bridge. I've been wanting to for a while. And so I think we're going to make our first one here. And this one is going to be super, super simple, because I've been looking up logging roads and logging bridges online, and they're really simple, guys. But I'm hoping that we can come up with a fun way to make this work out for us and not just be a super simple build, but actually be something pretty interesting to look at as well. But basically, if you look up online, logging roads and logging bridges and stuff, they're just made temporarily with the resources at hand, which would obviously be logs, right? That makes total sense. So that's what we're doing, guys. Now, the plan was to be building this while I talk about it, but man, it's harder than it looks. I don't know why, but I have a hard time doing that. And I think that's actually pretty normal. So I'm not going to beat myself up over it. I am going to build this bridge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to recognize the fact that I don't have any skills at all, because I can't even jump around like this. So one is I am actually going to get into doing some more PvP. I have not done PvP in a long time. Or at all really, because I've just been a builder, but I want to increase all my skills in this game because I think it's a lot of fun. It makes it more enjoyable. So I'm going to work on that here and there until I get good enough to maybe present you guys with some fun PvP action and stuff like that. And maybe I'll learn how to speak one day instead of stumbling over my words like I always do. Dag nabbit. But anyways, also I had another thing I was going to say, and what was it? It was to do with, we're talking about building. Oh yeah, I know what it is. Well, I don't have any shulker shells. We've been talking about shulker boxes and how that's going to make this world livable. Well, I don't have any because I've just been building. I've been living in a silver spoon in my mouth because I've been doing the creative mode thing for so long. But we're in survival now. Let's take it to the next step. I need to find the end, and I'm gonna do that. Hopefully this episode. Let's see. I need to get some shulker shells because I'm getting sick and tired of. I have a lot of projects I want to do around the area, and I can't do them because it just takes forever to gather the resources into the right place. I have a lot of resources gathered. They're just spread out, right? So I need to get some shulker box business going on in this world. So we're going to do that. I'm going to build this bridge. I think it'll be pretty quick, and see what that looks like. And then we're going to go to the end and see what's going on over there. See if we can't defeat some dragons, baby. Oh, yeah. And bridge completed. As you can see, it is a pretty rough looking structure and I kind of like it. This has not a lot of good architecture going on, but like I said, the idea behind this is it's just a regular logging bridge. And like I said, when I was looking at these pictures online, a lot of times they just took the logs themselves and they just stacked them 90 degrees to each other, up and up and up until they got as high as they needed, and then they basically supported each other like that. So this is just a one layer going this way and then another layer going this way, back and forth. And we'll jump down there and take a closer look at it so you can see what I'm talking about. But as you can see, I just used random log colors and I tried to have a little bit of randomness, and I put some dirt in the path. This is why I didn't want to build it on an angle. I think it turned out okay, but I would much rather have had it on a straight shot simply because I think it would have been cool to have that dirt path with the just slightly lower, you know, to give it a little bit of texture or depth, I guess is the right word. And that's distracted me because my windmill's only halfway there. Oh, and it's still moving. Guys, did that distract you? It distracted me. Let's get back to the task at hand. The bridge. I wanted it to have like a path, like a cart would carry the logs, for example, and I wanted a path for each wheel, and that would have worked out perfectly if it was, you know, straight this way or that way rather than at a diagonal like it is. But I think it actually turned out okay. The dirt looks pretty cool, that path block there. And then I went ahead and extended the path down here. We'll look at that in a second. And then same thing over here. I just kind of followed the landscape here and made a little bit of a curvy path this direction, added some more logs in. And over here we will eventually have another bridge where we can go back to the main land over there, and you can kind of see what I was talking about, how this is an island because that river flows through here. This is the custom river biome we made a couple episodes ago. So let's see if we can stroll down here and get a closer look at some of this stuff and let you know what I was thinking and why I did what I did. I did go ahead and add some slabs in here just to make the transition a little bit easier as you're walking. And again, you know, this isn't probably a bridge that you would brag about and try to get some kind of award for, but I think it's perfectly suited for what we have going on in our world. Let's jump down to these logs over here if we can. And maybe we can get an underside view. Yeah, we can. That's pretty good. So you can see how these are layered, right? So I've got 3 support pillars here going straight up and down, and then same thing over there. And as you can see, I kind of use my color gradient here to indicate that these logs were wet. But I also decided just to make some of them completely dark because I had them up here, and I used oak, dark oak, and spruce, obviously. And I just wanted a bunch of variety. I didn't want it all to be the same log type because it would all blend together, and I didn't want it to be all one log in one direction and another log type in the opposite direction because that wouldn't work either. And I think it needs the randomness to show that this is just a piled up mess that they just made as a temporary structure to do what they needed to do. And I think it actually turned out pretty good. So like I said, it's a little bit random. It's not perfect, but that is intended in this situation. And I think it adds some beauty to the project. Kind of like how we do with the different block variety in our paths and things like that, to give it some more interest. And then underneath here, the reason I'm swimming around bobbing up and down is because I wanted to show you the planks under here. I did that because one, I think it looks like a little bit of a support situation. I was thinking originally to put stairs under here to show that these had some kind of support, but I don't think this bridge is big enough to really appreciate that. I think it would look it would look half done. It wouldn't look right. So I put these planks under here. And one, like I said, it can provide some support, maybe, is the idea. They put some lumber in here and made some support. And then the other idea is that it's actually covering. The only places I've put those is to cover up where these dirt paths were showing through the bottom side of it. So it kind of covers that up because that wouldn't be very realistic if you could see the dirt on the bottom side. You'd fall right through it if you stepped on just some loose dirt. So now it actually is structurally sound if this were in the real world as well. And like I said, I just love the depth of this. So I thought that looked pretty cool, and I think it turned out pretty all right. So now I did try down here. I went ahead and made my path out here, and I mentioned these here, putting some bushes on top of them to make them look like saplings. And I may do that, but I'm not going to do it here because I just really enjoy, maybe not from this view so much as the higher vantage point. I really enjoy seeing the forest that's just been totally annihilated and cut down. I think that looks really cool up here like this. And when I added in the bushes on top to make little sapling trees, it just didn't look as good to me. So I think what we may do later is, as I cut all this forest area down, and there's some area back there I want to cut down. That's why I'm facing this way. That's not interesting. Is what I want to do is replace part of the forest with some saplings and have them all in one area, and I think it would look like new growth forest area, and that would be pretty cool. So, and then this side of the path, I just tried to merge this the best I could in here, and I tried to pay attention to where I had texture, so that with the path block, for example, you know, I always put beneath this slab I have more spruce wood in order to not see that line there, to make this a smooth transition for this, since this layer, well, you can see it right here. You can see how this log shows under there, and that doesn't look as natural, but you really didn't have an option here, because if I put spruce underneath that, spruce planks, then it would just cut this log in half. That wouldn't make sense. So I thought that one looked okay, and I miss those every now and then. I think everybody does, but I try to make that look as smooth as I can by replacing the block underneath that everywhere there's a path block. So anyways, that was a lot of unnecessary time on something quite simple. But down here, as you can see, we go right back into the camp here, and we have a transition that actually makes sense finally. So I think that turned out pretty cool. I like it. Pretty simple way to do a rustic kind of dilapidated bridge, and it works specifically well for like a logging area. Well guys, after an absolute poop ton of research that's probably going to delay the release of this episode, I do apologize, but man, I have had some hard times trying to animate Mr. Coop Dizzle here, because I am such a noob. But I think it's important to expand your horizons and learn what you can. So I learned a whole lot, but not quite enough, apparently. I know what I'm doing and how to do it, but it's just something's not quite right and can't get it to work quite right. So I caved in and I found an absolute amazing resource. Mr. Garrido.com. I'll put a link in the description. It is amazing, and also in the description I will put a link to the command that I came up with for this guy, so if you want it specifically you can get it. But let me show you how it works. It is amazing, and now that I'm kind of figuring out that website, which takes a little bit of learning as well, I think I'll be able to implement this a lot more, and we're going to have some really extreme, oh my goodness, I've got such good ideas for all over the place. And hopefully it'll be a lot faster now too. But to get started, we're going to have to get rid of our old friend here before we can put him back in. Goodbye, Mr. Coop Dizzle. Now, I'm going to put a link for this. It's an extremely long command because it's a one block command. So I'm going to put an ad shortener in there. So, or not an ad shortener, an ad fly link shortener. I apologize for having to do that so much lately, but my stuff is getting out of control down in the description. There's so much going on down there, so that helps it organize a little bit. When you guys open those links, make sure you don't click on the ads on the screen. Look at the top right corner after 5 seconds. Oops, fell in a hole. And the ads will go away. It'll say skip ad. Okay, all that out of the way. That's the stuff we don't care about so much. All we got to do is place a command block right there. And I'm doing this underground. You want to do this in a test world to make sure everything lines up, because this is going to create a whole lot more command blocks next to it. So I'm going to paste in the command that I'm going to give you guys. Oh, nope, that's the wrong command. Hold on one second, guys. I had to do something else there. I will be right back. Okay, that was easy enough. I'm going to paste the real command here. And like I said, it is a doozy. But when we're done, we click done is all we got to do. And then I'm going to power this with some redstone. And it's going to create, did you see that? Something crazy, right? And it also gave us a spawn egg. And I told it to spawn silverfish. So make sure you do not have silverfish in your world. Because it will totally screw up your world, believe me. But since I don't have any or plan to have any, I think we're going to be okay with this. At least not in this section of the world, I don't. So let's see, and hopefully this guy spawns in the right area. Yes, he does. So he spawned in a good location. He's rotated the other way, but that's okay. I'm all right with that for now. And now all we got to do is put his clothes on him. So I've got all the clothes ready to go. And as you can already see, he is going to town fishing. And look at this. Uh-oh, he's bobbing it a little fast now, but there we go. He's a little finicky. I wonder, it's to do with tick speed, I think. So he was working perfectly in a test world that I did, but I'm wondering if all of my other things that I've got going on in this world might be affecting him. I'm not sure. I may have to do some tests and see if I can't smooth him out, but he should just cast every like 10 seconds, basically is how I have it set up, 10 or 6 seconds maybe, and it should look like he's having a fun time fishing away. So that's the idea anyways, but as you can see, in this world at least, he's not doing such a good job. So I may relog and see if that helps, but anyways, check the description if you want this guy. I'm going to put a lot more stuff in here because it is so cool to me. Like I said before, it's such a little animation. I think I referenced that in a past video. It's such a little animation, but it can be so cool once we get this glitch figured out. But anyways, guys, thanks for putting up with me this episode. I really put in a lot of work on this one just because I'm so unfamiliar with it. Again, check the description. I'll put some kind of download in there where you can basically copy and paste from a Word document maybe. We'll see what it ends up being, but check the description. It'll have a link down there for you if you want to use this little dude once I get him fixed up for you. And yeah, and I don't know, we probably aren't going to put the bridge in there because it's not really a real build. Like, you would have to have a world just like mine to make that work. But hey, while we're in creative, let's back up and take a look at this. I love this road. Look at this thing, how it winds around like that. It's gorgeous with the curves, with the natural landscape like that. In fact, I'm digging it so much. I think what we're going to do, well, this one's okay. I was thinking this one could use a little more curve to it as well, but I think it worked out okay. But yeah, I think the world is really coming together now. I need to add some more logs and stuff out here. And then I'm going to, like I said, oh man, I'm so inspired with this guy right here. But I know a lot of you guys come to me for the builds, and that's why I play this game, because I am a builder. And so, like I said, if this kind of stuff is stuff I can do, trust me, you can do it, because I'm not a pro at it for sure. But I don't want to disappoint you guys, so I'm going to try to include more building in every episode. But I do have some plans for some survival stuff coming up too, to make that stuff easier for me. But bear with me, it's coming along, I promise you. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for joining me for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some inspiration out of it. And until next time, we'll see you in the comments. And as always, keep it creative.